In 1962, America's top military leadership signed off on an actual, real plan to stage terrorist attacks against American citizens on American soil, then blame it on Cuba to justify a war. This isn't a conspiracy theory pieced together from rumors. It's a real declassified document, and the details inside it are wilder than most fictional thrillers. The plan was called Operation Northwoods, and it was drafted in 1962 by officials within the Department of Defense and the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the highest-ranking military body in the United States. The goal was to create a justified pretext for military intervention in Cuba, at the height of Cold War tension following the Cuban Revolution. But instead of a straightforward military justification, the plan proposed something genuinely shocking: manufacturing fake attacks and blaming them on Cuba, essentially engineering the exact crisis needed to justify a war the public hadn't yet agreed to. Here's where it gets almost cartoonishly elaborate. The proposals included simulating the shoot-down of a U.S. military aircraft, remotely controlling or secretly repainting civilian planes to make them look military, staging bombings and hijackings, and even generating actual terror incidents inside American cities themselves, real attacks on real Americans, deliberately engineered by their own government. Other proposals included sinking boats carrying Cuban refugees and planting forged Cuban documents alongside staged interviews, all specifically designed to build a public narrative pinning blame squarely on Cuba, whether or not Cuba had actually done anything. The document wasn't some rogue fringe proposal either. It was signed by Lyman Lemnitzer, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff himself, and formally presented to Secretary of Defense Robert McNamara in March 1962. This came from the actual top of the American military chain of command, not some isolated group acting without authority. So what stopped it? President John F. Kennedy personally rejected the plan outright. And the fallout wasn't quiet either. By December of that same year, General Lemnitzer had been removed from his position as chairman of the Joint Chiefs entirely. Kennedy had reportedly lost confidence in military leadership that had proposed staging attacks against American citizens themselves purely to manufacture a war. Here's the twist that makes this story even stranger. This document was top secret for decades, and the public had no idea it ever existed. It wasn't declassified and made public until November 1997, released by the Review Board specifically investigating the JFK assassination, 35 years after it was originally drafted and rejected. For over 3 decades, one of the most audacious government plans in American history sat quietly sealed away, only surfacing well after most of the people involved in creating it were gone from public life entirely. So here's the honest, fascinating part of this story worth sitting with. Operation Northwoods never actually happened. Kennedy killed it before a single staged attack was ever carried out. But the plan itself, real, signed, formally proposed by the country's top military officials, remains one of the clearest documented examples of exactly how far a government body was willing to go on paper, and it's a genuine reminder that some of history's wildest conspiracy-sounding stories turn out to be sitting in a declassified government filing cabinet the whole time.